All right. There we go.
There it is.
All right, welcome everybody to Bethel Local Schools Board of Education regular meeting on Monday, April 13th, 2020 at 7:09 p.m. Apologize for the delay. And switching back over from the Facilities Committee to our meeting. Brennan, could you please call the roll?
Mr. King.
Here.
Ms. Reed.
Present.
Ms. Sebastian.
Here.
Mr. Elam.
Here.
Ms. Mansfield.
Here.
All right.
You have a quorum.
We have a quorum. Excellent. Brennan, could you scroll me down a little? So we need approval of the following resolution before we start. Bethel Local School District resolution allowing board membership in meetings via electronic or telephonic means. In regards to the law that was passed in Ohio that allowed for us to have these meetings, this goes through and explains it.
So Mr. King, these were, and the board members, these were resolutions that were recently sent out by BASA, which is the Buckeye Association for School Administrators. With a lot of the changes that have taken place in the last 6 to 7 weeks, obviously we're adjusting on the fly, and these are things that, although we didn't have it for our last Zoom meeting, we weren't the only ones. There's been many districts throughout the state that actually held an online meeting before they had a resolution indicating that they could do this temporarily during the issue. So the first one allows us to be able to continue with our meetings via Zoom or Google Hangout or YouTube, those kind of things.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Perks. Do we have a motion to accept the board resolution for electronic and telephone meetings to be held?
I'll move.
Thank you, Danny. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, Julie as the second. Any discussion? All right, Brendan, could you roll call vote?
Mr. Elam.
Yes.
Ms. Reese.
Yes.
Ms. Mansfield.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Ms. Sebastian.
Yes.
Next on the agenda is the board resolution regarding the 2019-2020 teacher evaluation. Mr. Firks, do you have a background for this?
Yes, this one was also recently released by BASA. As you probably are well aware, the state of Ohio Department of Education has come out and basically said that, you know, because we've shut down for 7+ weeks, potentially to the end of the school year, that a lot of teacher evaluations are going to be deemed impractical because evaluations were not completed completely with walkthroughs and classroom visits and pre and post conferences that take place. It's based on the Ohio Teacher Education System, the OTES rubric that's in place. That's our state level teacher evaluation tool. And so essentially what it's saying is we can deem them impractical, and then we are going to continue to wait for additional guidance from the Ohio Department of Education. Hopefully it comes out very soon. I have spoke with Mrs. Brewer, BEA representative, or president, I should say, excuse me. And we potentially also are looking at having an MOU put in place. She has sent that on to me. I did have sent it on to our school attorney to review, and hopefully we'll have more feedback on that here very shortly.
All right, thank you, sir. Do we have a motion to accept this resolution for teacher evaluations?
I'll move.
Thank you, Lori. Sorry. Consistent whether I'm video or at the table. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Danny, for the second. Any discussion?
Go ahead, Julie.
Sorry. I was just going to ask, has any evaluations been completed, and how does that work that some would be done and some wouldn't be done? Just asking.
Well, that's why we're still waiting on additional guidance from the Ohio Department of Education on whether those evaluations that have been completed need to go into the online computer system, which is ETPES for this year, or can we carry those over for next year? So we have not been told officially either way yet. I've heard mixed messages on that. I've heard we can carry it over. I've heard some say that we cannot until something is officially released from ODE on that. As soon as I get that, I will share that with the board and also the administration and the teaching staff.
Okay, thank
That's me. I'm covered. Thanks.
All right, copy. Yeah, I just want to make sure that whatever we're doing is looking out for our teachers and not to impact them at all. So that's my concern. Any other discussion topics? All right. Brendan, this is listed a little different, so.
Yeah, I'll still do the roll call.
Okay, could you call the roll, please? For votes?
Ms. Sebastian,
Yes.
Mr. Elam,
Aye.
Ms. Reese,
you. Aye.
Mr. King,
Yes.
Ms. Mansfield.
Yes.
Sorry about the formatting, Brennan. That's how they sent them out.
That's fine. It's either way. It's good.
This one's going to be a board resolution regarding distance learning.
This is a third resolution that came out from BASA in regards to essentially allowing districts to continue on with their remote distance learning activities. And then obviously it can be extended past what's considered blizzard bags, or can be utilized these hours towards the 1,000 hours requirement that we need to get in annually. So it's just a resolution stating that the board is giving us the ability to continue with what we're currently doing education-wise.
All right. Thank you. Do I have a motion to accept the resolution regarding distance learning?
I'll move.
Thank you, Lyda. Do we have a second?
I'll second. Julie.
Thank you, Julie. Any further any discussion? All right, Brendan, could you call the roll, please, sir?
Ms. Mansfield,
Yes.
Ms. Reese,
Yes.
Ms. Sebastian,
Lori.
You're muted.
Yes.
all right. Mr. Elam,
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Oh, I need to scroll down.
All right. Next up would be Pledge of Allegiance.
Should we do it?
What's that?
Should we do it?
I think because it's somewhat unique. I think that we should, I don't know. I don't have a problem doing it.
Oh, I don't either.
Okay. So do Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the
Flag
Flag
of the United States
States of America,
of America, and
Republic
to the republic
Republic for which it stands,
which stands
one nation,
God,
under God, indivisible,
and
with
justice.
liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. I'm pretty sure that's not a terrible, but we'll figure out how to do that the best way in the future. But thank you. Does anybody have any additions to the agenda?
I do for the treasure items. I need item number 8. I did get the board docs agreement and forwarded to you guys, so I would like to add that on for approval.
Okay. Is it amended on the agenda that we have on the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Any other items? All right. Next up is review of old business proposal to change valedictorian and salutatorian.
This one was added to the agenda. I received information from the presenters at a previous work session in regards to this Val-Sal potential change. I sent it out to the board and received some feedback back that they would like to have additional discussion in regards to it. And so it'd be an opportunity for any of the board members to share their comments, support, or concern in regards to the emailed proposal that was sent out.
Okay, I know I have some concerns in regards to changing it. I know that I think the ideology was to change it starting in 2024. Is that correct?
I believe so, yeah.
And I think it needs to be evaluated, but I think we need to take a very methodological, wow, that was terrible, a very educated look at the requirements going forward and the impact it has on our students and our school, and what is truly the best way to identify the valedictorian, salutatorian, in concert with our values and in concert with our community. And so I think current student input and community input would be helpful in making that decision, my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that even the last time we spoke, I sort of thought I just needed more time to be able to evaluate and think about it. And with all the things going on with facilities committee, and now coronavirus is upon us, and that wasn't the issue at the time as well. So I just kind of thought we weren't even going to think about it until maybe June or July at the earliest. So that was sort of a surprise that it was popped up at this point. And I just haven't had the time to really give it thoughtful consideration. So I'd like to table it if we could.
I agree. I think more time is needed, and I would rather that it be tabled at this time as well.
I agree.
All right, so point of order is, I don't know if tabling is the right word.
Right.
We table it, we have to vote on it at the next meeting.
Right.
But I think maybe the right terminology would be to move it to a work session so that we can continue to dive into it. So I would ask Ms. Lyda and Mr. Elam if that was their intent.
That's
Yes,
correct.
that is my intent.
Yes.
Well, this is Julie. I was just going to say, we need a proposal, because last time we discussed this, there were kind of a couple different options, if you will. And I just think that whatever group gets together and decides they want to change it, they need to come forward with a proposal, because we can't vote on options, right? We need an actual proposal.
Great
Well,
point.
I think we're coming from two different vantages. The administrators, I think, are coming from the advantage. This is hard to calculate. It makes extra work for Mara. I tend to come to it from the advantage of what's best for our students, what's best for our school. And I know Danny and I both, maybe some of the other of you, are very concerned we don't penalize kids who take art, music, and other elective classes. And this current system of ValSal allows for that. The new system would pretty much, you would basically get a lower GPA if you took art and music. And I don't think that's our intent. There's just a lot of nuances, I think, like Jacob was trying to say, that need to be really thought through. And I'm unconvinced that was done.
Correct. A number of years ago, when block scheduling was brought up at the high school, I know that I was totally against that because I knew, and a number of people had written books on the subject, what it did to arts programs.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, I want to always protect the arts programs as much as I can.
All right, excellent. So we'll put that on our list for work session. And I think, go ahead.
Could I ask a quick question, please?
Yes, sir.
And this might be more for the group, or it could be a Brennan question, maybe not Brennan so much, but I believe the high school handbook is on here to be approved as well. I'm not sure if that's in there or not. If it is, would we have to hold on approving the handbook as well?
Yes, sir. I would agree that we would have to hold off if that's what's listed.
Okay. So then once we get to that point, we'll have to make sure that we set that off to the side.
And are we also going to set aside the elementary handbook? Because I don't remember getting a copy of that.
Right. All we got was high
can.
school and middle school.
I just don't want to vote on something we haven't seen.
Okay. All right. I'll have to send that to you guys. I believe she sent hers in, and I'll have to check and see if I forwarded it to you or not. If I didn't, I apologize. It's on me.
Copy that, Justin. And if it's up to a timeline, either we can have it for an item in the work session, or if you need to request a special meeting, we can also possibly oblige that as well. If it's
okay. I will look into that, and if I get it to you guys soon, if we can potentially have that on an upcoming meeting, although it's not technically a meeting that we vote in, that'd be great, because I think they probably have to do some ordering for students and that kind of stuff as well. You know, with handbooks, agendas, those kind of stuff.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that.
No, it's perfect. Thank you. Which ties us right into administrative reports. Superintendent, Mr. Firks.
Have 3 items to update the community and board on for this evening. Number 1 has to do with the impact group. The impact group, as a friendly reminder, was the group that was hired earlier on this school year in regards to the development of our district strategic plan. Our last meeting, because of the virus, was postponed. We have essentially rescheduled it utilizing the Zoom session. We are going to have those 2 sessions held on Thursday, April 16th. They'll be meeting online with the administration team in the afternoon, and then they will meet with the Board of Education members that evening to continue on with that process and to hopefully have something finalized within the next several months for board consideration. Item number 2 has to do with a professional development opportunity and training that was provided today. It was a combined effort between the state support team, SST 10, which is affiliated through the Ohio Department of Education, and also our Bethel Local Schools Special Education Department. It was the SST 10 coordinator and also our special ed director, Mr. Tony Cochran, that put this professional development training together for all of our special ed staff to attend, which they all did today, and received very valuable updates from ODE in regards to IEP procedures for move-in and transfer students, which we're obviously seeing a high number of students that are moving into our district. Also received updates on procedural safeguards, parental rights, and then administrative review steps. So it was a good professional development training. I think it was a step in the right direction of getting all of us on the same page and our arrows pointed in the same direction. And we'll continue to look at having work done with SST 10 and Bethel in regards to upcoming developments to continue to grow our special education department. So thank you to Mr. Cochran and those staff members for participating in that conference today. And then finally, the last update has to do with our upcoming community forum for facilities. That'll be held on Monday, April 20th at 7:00 p.m. Although we'll be holding it in Bethel Hall, it will obviously be closed to the community. We will publicize Zoom information, and we will also stream it live on our YouTube channel. There'll be a survey that will be attached to it. We will also have the opportunity for people who watch it live to type in questions in the YouTube channel typing box. And we'll also make a link available on our district website for people to watch it if they couldn't do so live. So we're obviously continue to move forward with our master facilities plan, and the overall goal is to have a recommendation made to the Ohio Facilities Construction Commission for their stamp of approval in potentially July. So just kind of wanted to give everybody an update on those 3 items.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. And next up, we have communications, meeting, and announcements. Most of them were covered by Mr. Ferks as well, but they're listed here with the impact group and then the community forum via YouTube. Any other community?
Jacob,
Missed the hearing of the public.
Jacob, the facilities meeting is going to be at 5:00 now.
Copy. This one's listing the one we had today. But for in the future, the next one in May, we'll start at 5. But I'll back up to hearing of the public regarding agenda items. Brennan, are you seeing any questions?
I do not have anything from the chat from YouTube.
Okay. All right, then the communications meeting and announcements. The next facilities committee meeting will be starting at 5. The impact group and then the community forum via YouTube on April 20th. Justin, you said the time. What was the time that we're doing the community forum on the 20th?
Community forum will still be held at 7:00 p.m.
Okay. Thank you.
We didn't change that time at all. I just figured to keep it consistent, just keep it at the same time so there isn't any confusion unless you guys think differently.
No, I think that's great. I just brought it up because it wasn't right here on the agenda. So.
Oh, okay.
Anybody listening to know there's a 7. But I want to say it without confirming with you. All right.
Understood.
Next up is treasurer's report. Treasurer's item requesting board action.
Board, I have the following items for approval tonight. The minutes from March 3rd and March 9th. The payment of bills, which was in the financial report that I sent last week. The financial report as prepared. Number 4, the following amended appropriations. The permanent improvement one is related to the 2 vans that we approved last month to purchase. Food service, we had to update 2 of our point of sale systems to Windows 10. So that is the reason for the increase in the food service fund. Student activity fund is related to additional supplies that were going to be needed for the Spanish club fund. And for 300, that district activity fund, it is related to the athletic fund. At this time of year, we get quotes and prices for reconditioning and purchases of additional football helmets and pads. So that's what the amended appropriations are for. Number 5 is the meta agreement for next year that I forward for next school year. Number 6, the engagement letters. The first one is with Stifle for the potential issues of certificate of participations depending on the outcome of the master facility plan. And then also we currently use REMAX related to the farmhouse that we have, the rental property, and they oversee that, and that's for the next 12 months. Number 7 is the proposal cost related to for reliable related to the modular unit. As you remember in the facilities meeting, if we dealt directly with reliable rather than have it go through Will Scott, we were able to not have to pay the additional fees, which I believe, as I calculated, were a roughly savings of about $22,000. So Mr. Chapman is going to oversee that part of the project, and I forward you the proposal that needs to be approved. And then number 8 would be the approval of the board docs agreement with OASBO or OSBA.
Okay. Brennan, could you scroll down? Thank you. Motion to place the items from the treasurer's report on the consent calendar.
I'll move.
Thank you, Lida. Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Danny. Any discussion?
I had 2 things. One, Brennan, will you put on your calendar around January of next year to check where we're at with REMAX if we need to give them notice we're not continuing with the farmhouse? I know all that's going to depend on the facility plan, but rather than paying late fees next year because we haven't canceled it, if we need to, can you do that for me?
Mm-hmm.
And then the second
Yeah.
one, can you scroll back for me? Sorry. That's good. That's good. I don't know if it comes to me. I can't remember what the other one was. Go ahead.
All right. Any other discussion topics? Brennan, could you call the roll, please?
Ms. Mansfield,
Yes.
Mr. Elam,
Yes.
Ms. Sebastian,
Yes.
Ms. Reese,
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes. All right, next is a motion to adopt the consent calendar with the items from the treasurer's report. Do we have a motion?
I'll move.
Thank you, Lida. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Lori. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I remembered what it was. Board docs. On the service agreement, you did say the $1,000 setup fee was waived. Is that correct?
Yes, as long as we approve it tonight.
Okay, because it was still marked on the box. So as long as you've got the contract correct, that's all I care about.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that.
And related to board docs, Brennan, I just want to thank you for your integrity because that's well within your discretionary spending and you did not even need to bring that to us. But thank you for giving us the opportunity to review and have a say so since we'll be using it. I really appreciate that. But that's a lot of, I don't know, just kudos to you because you didn't really have to do that. So thanks.
I appreciate that, but it's the district and we're a team, and it's ultimately the Board of Education board minutes. So I figured it would be best that you guys are on board as well.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you. Any other discussion? All right, Brennan, could you call the roll, please?
Ms. Mansfield,
Yes.
Ms. Sebastian,
Yes.
Ms. Reese,
Yes.
Mr. King,
Yes.
and Mr. Elam.
Yes.
Okay. Any other information from the treasurer?
We are, just let the community know, we know we have some reimbursements to process. However, we're waiting on some of the refunds, like for instance, the Nashville trip, we're waiting for the refund to be able to do that. Also, a couple other things to consider, depending how, if the extension is done if it's extended past May 1st, I think it would be in our best interest to also refund participation fees for people that paid in the spring if we don't have any actually athletic events. I've been working with the athletic department and I have that list prepared. So that would be something to be on your radar for the next board meeting as well. Also, Justin, myself, Amy Mathis, and Tracy Brewer met with Mago and Broadbender through Zoom last week. I sent you guys some information to consider. One of the things as I've been here for the last couple of years is to provide another option for healthcare benefits for staff. I have gathered information related to a high deductible health savings account. I will be working with Tracy and Amy and Justin to send out a survey to staff to see the interest in our current staff. But I have asked Mago and Broadbender to come at our next work session to help facilitate that. But I think it's an option that, as a school district, we should look at and see if we can provide any more options for our staff. Other than that, treasurer office, central offices, we're still getting payroll done, getting bills paid. I just want to give praise to Amy Mathis and Megan Goins. They have been exceptional. They have been coming in here and there to get stuff done and are checking emails. So if staff has questions or anything, they've been doing a fantastic job, and I am very proud of them. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Brendan. And I know the board echoes your thoughts to the team. So thank you, and thank them as well. Scrolling down on the agenda, next up would be superintendent's report. Superintendent items requesting board action.
We have a number of items that are on here pending board approval, actually 6 items in particular. First item has to do with Memorandum of Understanding and MOU with the Miami Valley Career Technical Center, MVCTC, and Bethel Local Schools to continue our program agreement for career tech that we offer here at Bethel Local Schools. Number 2 has to do with a couple of volunteers that have completed their people activity certification, including FBI, BCI, and drug screening checks. That would be Mr. Drew Besco, be a baseball volunteer. Mr. Kenneth Williams would be a softball volunteer. Number 3 has to do with the approval of 2020-2021 handbooks. We're going to have to get updated handbooks sent from the high school. I will forward handbooks from the elementary to the board members, and then the middle school you guys should have. Elementary sent theirs plenty early. That was my apologies for not getting that to the board once again. So thank you to Ms. Petty and Mrs. Roll for being timely in their submission. I will get that sent out ASAP, and we will get those approved at our next meeting. So that was my fault. Number 4 has to do with 1-year limited contracts for certified staff members. This is all of our staff members that will be up for renewal this evening. They are in alphabetical order and also includes elementary, middle school, and high school staff members as well. Number 5 would be the potential, this is a temporary employment. Richard Brown, who is one of our bus drivers, has been willing to come in and assist with mowing outside and also over at Palmer Fields to help with maintenance staff that right now we are down our assistant. So we were planning on having him help with the mowing part to keep up. Now it's raining and the grass is green and looking good. So we're going to hire him at the $12 rate for the summer groundskeeping rate that has been established. Summer employment, depending upon future guidance from ODE and what we're allowed to do or not allowed to do, here are the staff members that have agreed to come on board and assist with our summer custodial crew this summer. Not all of them are going to be working every day. Not all of them are going, I don't think any of them are going to be working 40 hours a week. Brennan and I, Mr. Hattery and I had spoke with Mr. Chapman, our maintenance supervisor, and we're looking at keeping it under 30 hours a week for each employee, because that's based on Affordable Health Care Act and dealing with insurance offerings with classified staff. So as you can see, we have 10 staff members. They are classified and certified. We had 11 originally, but we lost one of our staff members who's now expecting, and she cannot work in the summer. So we fully understand that. But for the first year of opening this up and trying it out, I was hoping to get 4 or 5. And so to get 10 that first year, I think speaks volumes to the staff that want to come in and help clean the building and obviously take great pride in it and make sure that it looks spick and span for the start of next school year. So those are the 6 items that I had on the agenda for this evening.
All right, thank you, sir. Motion to place the items from the superintendent's report on the consent calendar.
I'll move.
Thank you, Lida. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Danny, for the second. Discussion?
Just a question. Did Miami Valley hire a long-term sub yet for that satellite that they have? Okay.
Yes. They actually were only here for a day or so before we shut down. So
Right.
The plan was to have that individual finish the remainder of the year and then to open it up for applications and interviews. So I plan on having a meeting with our administration team. We do weekly meetings via Zoom on Wednesday. I will bring that up with Mr. Swope and kind of see where they're at with that process. I think a lot of districts, including ourselves, are struggling right now with how to conduct interviews in this unique environment. So I've not received an update in regards to if we do come back to school, that individual obviously will finish the year, but where they're going to be at with the interview process.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
You're welcome.
For a discussion topic, I would like to request the high school handbook and elementary handbook be removed from the agenda and only voting on middle school.
And I'd also like to thank Rich Brown for stepping up and filling in that groundskeeper position. That's a great help to the district. And I know he's done a lot of, he's a bus driver. I'm very thankful he stepped up to do that.
Well, it means I don't get to be able to get behind a mower though, so I'm kind of bummed, but okay.
I have a question about that item. This is Julie. So are we looking now for a replacement or an assistant maintenance person, or delaying that for next year?
We have posted the position. We have secured applications. I've sat down with Mr. Chapman. We've identified a handful of people that are qualified and interested. And the plan is to get interviews set up, but we're trying to figure out how to make that happen while maintaining social distancing. So
Gotcha. So this temporary then is truly temporary. He really is just filling in.
Yeah, he essentially is just to help with the mowing, because with the spring, as you guys well know, I feel like I cut my grass and a day later or 2 days later, I got to cut it again. So
Yep,
and with all the
gotcha.
land that we have, trying to keep up. Just personally, I have a real hard time. I struggle with hiring somebody just simply on a Zoom session or over a phone call. I don't know. There's a personal side to it where I can sit down and get to meet somebody and look them in the eye and get to know them. And especially with any position, teaching in particular, but when you look at all positions, maintenance, custodial. So we're still trying to figure out how to work this out, but also realizing that, the earlier that we get on people, the better candidates we have as well. So there's a fine line between the personal touch of an interview and then also making sure we get the best that we can get in as well. So,
Yep, understand.
yeah, Mr. Brown's only essentially all he's helping with is the mowing and the outside.
Okay, gotcha.
And thank you to him, as Ms. Sebastian indicated, he actually came to us and offered to help out with the mowing because he knows we're short-staffed. So thanks to Mr. Brown for his willingness to be able to help out in a lot of different areas.
Yeah, I would say Mr. Brown's a champion of our school when it comes to doing the extra, especially with the athletics and driving the buses and, supporting our students very well. All right. Any other discussion topics or discussion on these items? All right. Brennan, could you call the roll, please, sir?
Ms. Mansfield,
Yes.
Mr. Elam,
Yes.
Ms. Sebastian,
Yes.
Ms. Reese,
Yes,
Mr. King.
Yes. All right. Do we have a motion to adopt the amended consent calendar with the items from the superintendent's report?
I'll move.
Thank you, Lori. Do we have a second?
I'll
I'll
second.
second. It's Julie.
Let Julie have it.
All right. Thank you, Julie, for the second. Any further discussion? All right. Brendan?
Ms. Sebastian,
Yes.
Ms. Reese,
Yes,
Mr. Elam,
Yes.
Mr. King,
Yes.
Ms. Mansfield.
Yes.
All right. Moving on, other information from the superintendent.
I do not have any at this time, sir.
All right. Thank you. Next up is board report. Julie?
yep. So we had a facilities committee meeting directly in front of this meeting. And the items for discussion were temporary swing space. Justin gave an update on the Will Scott modular units, hammering out the contract, and followed up on the references. And we are able to extend the lease or release or purchase at the end of the 36 months. Next discussion was on short-term classroom space. Some of the options are additional modular units. These are just possibilities. Metal building that could potentially be repurposed in the future, and other alternatives to renovate existing space, adding additional classrooms to the north end of the existing school, possibly doing some online, having one grade be online education for a year, since now we're doing that and maybe are getting good at it. And that was pretty much the options. We skipped the carriage trails update due to time. And then we talked about the master facilities plan and the preparation for the upcoming community forum, basically reviewing the survey questions for the upcoming meeting. And also, due to the coronavirus, the OCC is not making any decisions at the moment, but said that the ELPP projects have a better chance of getting approved. That was pretty much it. That's a summary.
All right. Thank you, Julie. Does any other board have any other committees to report on? All right. I'm sure. So I'd just like to echo a couple of thoughts for anyone that wasn't monitoring our work session, but the entire board expressed great words of encouragement and how proud we are to be part of Bethel Schools based on the extreme amount of work our teachers have done, our staff and our administrators, in working through these difficult times, in trying to educate our children. We spoke well in depth, I believe, in regards to all of our accolades for our teachers, staff, and administrators. And so I just want to re-echo that tonight, how well our teachers have adapted, our staff and our administrators have adapted in this environment, and put the education of our children first. So we're extremely proud of them, and knowing that, you know, this is an unprecedented time, as everyone knows, that's living it with us. So I'd like to, you know, thank Mr. Ferks for his leadership during these trying times, as well as Brennan and his team, the front office staff. And, you know, Brennan also wanted to say, you know, he also included Dea in doing the super awesome job she's doing for us as well. So just wanted to say thank you to our community for being understanding in these times, as well as understanding with us as a board as we work through this new electronic way of having meetings and communicating with you. So we're doing our best, and always looking for new options and ways that we can better communicate with you all. So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, it's well earned, well earned. So any other board members have any other reports? I believe I captured your kind of thoughts, but if there's something I missed.
I just like to thank the seniors that put the video together. I think that was Amber Aguilar, and I don't know, there were several other seniors involved. It turned out really nice. It was kind of a summary of thanking everyone for all they had done, and it turned out really well.
Yeah, I agree. Even our athletics and our teams putting their videos out as well. I think that's great. That it just goes to show that we're still connected with our students, and highlighting them. And I think that's key. And we all have our fingers crossed for what's going to happen after May 11th, and what kind of restrictions we're going to be under at that point. So. So hopefully we can get in some of our traditional items. You know, we discussed prom and graduation. How is that going to work? So I know our administrative teams are all looking at this and coming up with multiple ways that we can try and make any of this be accomplished. So, and still awaiting governor and ODE guidance. So with that, next, anybody have anything else? All right. Next on the agenda is a hearing of the BEA president.
Hi guys, I don't really have a lot to say. I can't wait to get back into the classroom. I really miss everyone. If you haven't checked out the social media, especially our BEA Facebook page, there's some really awesome pictures and videos of teachers on there really missing their students. Missing our students. I also want to thank Mr. Hatterley for including me in the HSA meeting. I learned a lot, and I'm looking forward to working with him to address the staff on the second option for healthcare. I also emailed the staff today to remind them to ask for their absentee ballot for the state of Ohio. So that's really all I got. I just hope you guys are all staying safe and healthy, and can't wait to see you in person.
Thank you, Ms. Buer, and thank you for being such a great teammate as well. We appreciate working with you as a leader of our union and being a great conduit of information to and from our staff and the teachers. So thank you for that. And I think we all look forward to meeting in person again, because that would mean this is over. All right, so next up is hearing of the public.
I do not have anything. I have not received anything either.
All right. Thank you. Does anybody have a need for executive session from any of the teammates? There you go. All right, let's go into my phone to pull up the agenda. All right. All right. So being that there is no need for the agenda, is there any other items for the discussion? All right. So no other items for discussion. Then do we have a motion for adjournment?
I'll move.
Thank you, Lida. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Danny. Any discussion? Brennan, could you call the roll, please, sir?
Ms. Mansfield,
Yes.
Mr. Elam,
Yes.
Mr. King,
Yes.
Ms. Reese,
Yes.
Ms. Sebastian.
Yes.
At 8 o'clock.
All right, meeting adjourned at 8 p.m. Thank you to the community. And thank you to Mr. Hattie for running the meeting on the Zoom and YouTube Live.